I'll see y'all. I'm here in the deep woods of Leavenworth, Washington, and I figured it was a perfect place to come out and test my new Tomahawk and my old one. I found some good trees out here to throw them at. I found a couple branches to cut down and whittle and kind of improvise new handles and stuff. But while I was out here, I wanted to do a little review on them. I'll start with my Trailhawk. Really good throwing Tomahawk. Really light, really agile. I wish I had more of the little. I wish I could tell you how long it was, more of the precise matters. But as it is, I don't know. I know it's 1055 carbon steel. Really lightweight, easy to swing, easy to throw. It's good to put on your belt, you know, carry it around with you. If you want to cut down a little twig or two, it's got a pretty small blade, but nonetheless, it's agile and accurate. I've had this one for a couple months now. I got it earlier this spring. I've already broken a handle on it once, and I've already gotten a new one, which I chipped earlier today. Anyhow, this is a really good Tomahawk. I love it. I love the fluidity of it. The small swings. I mean, it's if you're into practicing combat with the Tomahawks, it's an excellent one because of how light it is and how fast you can retaliate after a swing down. You can really swing it around effectively and quickly. It's one of my favorites. And I've done a little modification on it. I stripped that black paint that came on it, a stock black paint. I didn't like it at all. I stripped it down with a grinder, and I've sanded my eye in here so it's a nice snug fit onto my handle here. And then I put a bluing agent onto it, which is essentially a controlled rust. So now it has that dark iron appearance, but it's not susceptible to rust, and it's well, hell, I don't know. It's just better, in my opinion. But yeah, that's the Trailhawk. And then I most recently received my pipehawk, which is named because of that bowl-shaped hammer end we have there, which is not functional. Originally, the Native Americans had tomahawks a lot like this, and what they would do is they'd hollow out their handle here all the way through, and then their bowl would be hollow as well, and then they'd put some tobacco in there and they'd smoke it. But obviously you can't do that with this one. It's 1055 carbon steel, so it's as solid as any hammer end would be. So it's really effective, functional tool. I just cut down a tree with it. The blade is still nice and sharp. It's almost brand new out of the box. I haven't had it very long, but I just cut down a pretty small tree. It was dead, and it's going to make good firewood tonight for the campfire. But as you can see, I haven't done any modifications to this, with the exception of I took out that set screw that came, you know, with it, that had it fastened to the handle. I took that right out, and it still has, it's a little dirty, but it still has that original black paint, which I'm not very fond of at all. So and I also sanded out my eye in here to give it a nice tight fit on my handle here. But it won't be long until I file all this out and I put on some bluing agent for this to give it that nice dark look, and I imagine I'll cut out some notches on the top here to make it look pretty. But yeah, I was throwing my hawks today, and this is my newest one, so I'm trying to get used to the weight and the spin. It's only slightly different. And I threw it and it stuck, and then I threw my Trailhawk, and I don't know how well you could see that, but it gouged out a nice bit right there. It's still fully functional. I don't think it's weakened it too much. Of course, that's a pretty big chunk to lose. So I went down, I whittled myself a nice little handle to use as a temporary throwing handle for my new pipehawk here. This, other than throwing, I've been using these hawks a lot for close hand-to-hand combat. And as far as the two are concerned, I love them both. I couldn't be happier. I might end up getting a couple more, you know, the other Trailhawks that they offer, or Tomahawks that Cold Steel offers, but right now I'm fully satisfied with the two that I have here. Both 1055 carbon steel. I mean, these suckers will last and last. I could smack at granite all day long, and I'll just bust the granite away and chip the paint a little bit, but other than that, really effective tools, especially for camping or if you're just out in the bush walking. It's wise to bring one of these because in almost any situation they'll prove helpful. You need some firewood, self-defense, being that against man or animal. Of course, you might want to bring a pistol with you, but if you don't have one of those, these come close to the next best thing. I have a long knife that I've been using to practice my combat. Of course, I was recently hit by a car, so I'm kind of limping as of late. But anyhow, I have a nice little, not little I guess, but a nice long knife here that I've been using as my my parrying weapon, parry, and good things come. You know, it's a lot of fun to use these. It brings back a sense of originality. It kind of takes you back to the old world. I know a lot of people just want to get the Tomahawk to throw it at some targets, but it's a good idea to practice combat with them. And, you know, look up some videos that give you correct details and, you know, safety first as always. But this Tomahawk, for one, it's got a bit more weight than my Trailhawk here, so it's highly effective at damaging any human body. So I mean, the last thing I want to do is get in a fight with another human being. But if I should, I think that if I had this on my belt, that I would become clearly dominant as soon as I got both of them in my hands, because the practice that I've been able to get in these past couple of days. But it's always wise to carry one of these on your belt. Just a nice long knife, and keep it really sharp. Don't ever use it unless you have to. And mine's still, it's a razor edge on there. It's good to have with you. But otherwise, between the two Hawks, I would say I think that I like the pipehawk better because of its weight, and it has a longer blade there, as you can see. I've put them together. Quite a bit more cutting edge, cutting surface, and that hammer end, it's a little more, sorry, flies are bugging me, just landing everywhere. Anyhow, if you see them close up there, you can see that wide hammer end, and you're driving in stake tents, tent stakes, or nails, or you're trying to chip a rock away, you're trying to dull the edge of a stick, whatever you may be doing. That's highly functional and very effective. And then this one, I mean, like I mentioned it quite a few times, just the agility and the lightness that it offers compared to the slow pipehawk. I'm not quite certain about the details and how much heavier this one is, but man, I just like it. I love the hold of it. I love how it feels in my hand. You know, I love swinging it. It's really entertaining. It's a lot of fun, and it goes way back into my history, Native American history. My ancestors, part of the Apache and Cherokee people, they generally had a tomahawk on their hips, so it's a great tool for me to relate to my traditions, my heritage. But yeah, I would suggest any of Cold Steel's tomahawks. I've got 2 so far, and I'm certain that any of the other ones are highly effective. But what I'd like to stress more than anything is just make sure that you get that set screw out and you pull it off, and you sand your handle down, and you sand out the inside of your tomahawk eye there, get it nice and smooth so that you're able to bastards so that you're able to get it onto your handle with speed and reliability, and it's pretty set. I mean, it's not going to come off. Sorry. But anyhow, as I said, pipehawk, Trailhawk, both extremely effective. I would suggest getting one to anyone. You know, don't sharpen the blade. That's one thing I gotta stress. Is hundreds of people out there immediately they want a sharp razor sharp blade for cutting and attacking, and when in reality, if it's your first tomahawk, you need to really develop the muscles and the skills and the instincts that these weapons almost demand, because of their weight and because of their functionability. You can't just go out and start swinging one and expect to be a badass. You really have to practice, and I mean hours and hours of practice. You want to be strong, and you want to be smart. I mean, if you can, put a sheath on there, and if you do intend to practice combat skills, keep that sheath on there, because these could just break bones, and they'll cut right into you right out of the box. They're not extremely sharp, but I mean, they're sharp enough. Let them go dull, and then when you're out in the bush and you start to depend on them, get out your whetstone and sharpen them to a fine point there. But otherwise, all I can suggest to anyone is, as soon as you get them, get your Allen wrench, pull that out, sand it out in there, sand your handle, and you'll be set to go. Do some staining if you'd like, but otherwise, good luck. And I'll also get a video of me throwing these just to show you their accuracy, and it's just fun to watch people throw tomahawks. But yeah.